Hello, happy holidays from Big Angie Fan Channel here in beautiful Hawaii. It's the end of the year, so I have my top 10 list for 2025. All things either Angelina Jordan has done or that are things from the Angelina Jordan kind of universe. So the bottom two are not things that Angelina Jordan has directly done, but definitely influenced a lot of things in Angelina Jordan's world. So number 10 is James Thiel's Flowering. He's one of the most important of the newer fans of Angelina Jordan. I've talked about him before. He does a lot of mashups and concert videos. And so one thing is he's just exponentially getting better in his editing of those. And I think those do bring in a lot of new fans, which is the main thing that I look for. But another really important thing that's just happened in this past year is he started doing live streams, where he will play Angelina Jordan songs, and you get to see a lot of rare things like, unlisted things from him and from others, or things that he's working on that aren't even online at all yet. And also you get to, chat with people from the community, the regulars from the community who go to these live streams, and be talking in real time and get a lot of news and information that way. And then for newer fans of Angelina Jordan, again, this is a great way to find out a lot of stuff, because again, you can just directly ask the other people in the chat. Now for number 9, we have another emergence, and that's Angelina Jordan's grandmother, Mary Zamani. I mean, she's always been on the scene. She's always been a very important mentor for Angelina Jordan, and we've always known about her presence, and mainly through all of the videos that she's done. She has done so many rehearsals and behind the scenes videos. Most of those videos that we see are shot by Mary. So we have her to thank for this huge proportion of the Angelina Jordan music that we experience, and things we can see about her more private life. But now Mary Zamani's own voice has emerged a lot more. She's published a lot of her poetry on her TikTok, and she's also taken to fairly frequently responding to comments on videos that are Angelina Jordan videos on TikTok. And that is a treasure, because that's one long-standing kind of frustration with Angelina Jordan fans, is how hard it is to get any kind of direct communication with the Angelina Jordan team. So we do get more of that from her than from any of the others. And it's wonderful to read Angelina Jordan's very distinctive, I should say Mary Zamani's very distinctive poetry. I had that slip because they are so connected with each other. In addition to the poetry and her interacting with fans quite a bit, there's also just these fascinating stories of her past life, which really, to me, provide some good clues about the famous privacy of the Angelina Jordan family. She has experienced, Mary at least, has experienced a lot of the kind of the dark side of humanity, and has experienced betrayal, having to she had, we don't know all the circumstances, but she probably had to flee Iran because of the revolution, and then she also apparently had to leave Japan. She had a recent story about a time that she was incarcerated for a brief period in a Japanese prison. That was a very interesting story. So, and of course, most spectacularly, the new contribution of Mary Zamani is that she has directly contributed to Angelina Jordan's new original music. And that will come up later on in this list. All right, coming in at number 8 is something that before it happened, I thought I was going to be ranking much higher than this, and that's the online Christmas concert that happened on December 23rd. The reason I'm not ranking this higher is because It turned out to be just Angelina Jordan lip syncing to the pre-recorded studio recordings of her latest Christmas album, which I'll have more about the album later on in this ranking. But that I think some fans are kind of rationalizing about this, saying, it wasn't really, deceitful because, it wasn't actually stated that we were going to be hearing live music. But I think, Angelina Jordan had to have known that we would expect that based on her last Christmas online show, which was absolutely fabulous. I mean, not live music live as it happened, but at least music that was pre-recorded but live, with the musicians. I mean, it would just be natural for us to expect that. Also, it was talked about how she was going to have these musicians. And, I think that Angelina Jordan had to have known that if we had known that it was going to be lip sync, a lot of us would have been a lot less interested in paying $30 for it. I think probably some of her hardcore fans like me were more disappointed than most people would be, because we hardcore fans know how very special she is performing live, whether it's pre-recorded live or actually live as you're watching it. And it's just wonderful to see those jazz improvisations, see how it's going to be different from the version that you're used to.
But every mother's child is gonna spy to see if a reindeer really know how to fly.
I do think that there's good evidence that it wasn't originally planned to be lip sync, because you have rehearsals with this band and other indications, and so that's fine. Maybe there's some technical issue, or Angelina Jordan just didn't like how they were sounding. They didn't have enough time to practice, and so they switched at the last minute to doing these lip sync versions. And so that's fine, but I think that that should have been indicated, either right before the concert or with the title on the concert. Sorry, but we felt that in order to get the best sound possible, we needed to do this as a lip sync to previously recorded music.
This is Anthony Harvey and the band. They have something special for you lined up.
Yeah, so from our family to your family, we'd like to wish you a happy holidays, and every wish begins with you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Angelina Jordan.
It was wonderful to see that Rob Christie hosted the show, and she looked great. And it was just unfortunate that it was lip sync, and especially unfortunate that that wasn't addressed in any way, either before or to date after. And so, yeah, left a little bit of a bad taste in the mouth, but still a great show, especially for people who are new to Angelina Jordan. Anyway, so moving on, that was too bad. Number 7, we have kind of the opposite of this, which left a very good taste in the mouth, was she fairly recently had this very long live stream, like something like over an hour long. Anyway, it was very long, and she answered a lot of questions, and so she was just very down to earth, and we did have that wonderful experience of actually communicating with her, actually having kind of a dialogue, question asked and answered. And yeah, so she does seem to be doing those things more. So that's one way that there is more communication happening, and she's getting more confident in dealing with the public. So yeah, that's wonderful. Of course, I have links for all these things that I'm talking about. Moving on to, what do I have for number 6? Okay, so the first half of the year, not that much happened. So it's mainly what I have to talk about from the first half of the year is, TikToks that she released. She also always has a lot of these frustratingly short TikToks with just fantastic singing, and there were several great ones, some country songs, but they were almost all that kind of frustratingly short variety. But the one I'm going to highlight is she came out with a complete version of Gloomy Sunday. Like more than 10 years after she debuted, she made her way into the public eye with her audition with Gloomy Sunday and on Norway's Got Talent, way back when she was either 7 or 8. There's some debate about how old she was, but so this was more than 10 years after that, but it included the very somber and dark second verse, which is kind of directly talking about suicide, but just beautifully sung, evoking the Billie Holiday original, and nice to have a complete TikTok.
Gloomy Sunday with shadows, I spend it all, my heart, and I have decided to end it all. Soon there'll be candles and prayers that I said I know. Let them now weep, let them know that I'm glad to go.
Moving on to number 5 is a live stream that she did in which she teased several new songs that had already been recorded. And these live streams are always wonderful because of the interactive element, but this was especially great because all the songs that she teased sounded amazing. And she's just like, playing these songs in her car's stereo system for us, as they're driving along somewhere. And she had one song where it was basically the entire song, and it was pretty good quality sound. It was just, a few little background sounds in the back sometimes, but good enough that you really got a good flavor of what the actual studio version is going to be, and that's the song Shadows. So that's just a fantastic song, fantastic vocals.
You have to believe my lie. God knows I didn't see anyone after you. I need to step out of the shadows. Now you can know God.
And I'm really hoping that's going to come out in the album for 2026, that in a much more recent live stream she promised was definitely coming. So there was that fabulous song, and then another great one called Woman that she said that she wrote at the age of 8, I believe, which is amazing. So just the fact of the live stream, the way it was presented, so casually, and just these incredible songs. Okay, moving on towards the end of the year, where most of the great stuff happened. Coming in at number 4, and some of you might be surprised that I only have it at number 4, is her Christmas album, Secret of the Star. It's just that her other album and some individual songs from that album and from Secret of the Star, I just feel like they deserve to be ranked higher. So this is one of the 2 albums that came out in quick succession in the fall that are the fruit of her collaboration with Mary Zamani. Like I was saying before, Mary Zamani has actually directly contributed to these works. These are both using the poetry of Mary Zamani to one degree or another. Actually, this one, Secret of the Star, the Christmas album, uses Mary's poetry somewhat less than the other one does. But as a result, you've got these insanely good lyrics.
The sky was last flame. The winds of time all spoke one name.
And these albums are both completely independent of any studio, and that shows both for good and for bad. And I will much more for good than for bad, but I'll be talking about that later, and I'll have a full review of Secret of the Soul at least coming out very soon. But so this was the lesser of the two albums because, well, it was shorter. It seemed like it was more rushed, and so the mix was more muddy. There was more issues with the with the arrangements. It was kind of like more adventurous musically in terms of the arrangements than the other album was, but I felt not always successfully. The strong songwriting was not as strong. It was also Christmas, all these Christmas themed songs, which is kind of a limiting thing. I'm not a big fan of Christmas songs unless Angelina Jordan does them. So this was a fabulous, fabulous album, but it had a number of things about it that made it not as good as her other album, I thought. But wonderful, some wonderful lyrics and vocals, and at least one great song, which is the next thing on my list. Coming in at number 3 is the closing song from this album, Who'll Wipe Their Tears Away. This kind of somber song about children in need feels very much like a cousin of the Princess of Ruins song that she wrote about, also about a child in need.
If we can love, then we belong. We are their heart, their home, their soul.
And most of the rest of the album is kind of light and celebratory, but this is a much darker song, and with some. Here, I think the arrangement worked for the most part very well. These somber strings and then a chorus you're not expecting, and just beautiful lyrics, and brought me to tears. And definitely, I think deserves to be a new Christmas classic. Coming in at 2, I have a selection from the album that's going to be here at number 1. And there's so many great songs to choose from this album, but I'm going to choose No One Can Hear My Heart. It's the most kind of jazzy sounding song on the album. Just some absolutely stunningly good jazz singing, in terms of the way that she plays with the dynamics and the phrasing.
I light a candle in the dark, but shadows still dance on the walls. I whisper secrets to the night.
And just all throughout this album, she just brings emotion to the forefront like never before. But I think this one definitely does that. Some of the best lyrics on the album, and this album is so good that it's hard to pick one standout, but that's the one I'm going to pick. But there's others like Summer Wind and the first cut off of the album, and quite a few others. So, but that's if you just want to see what a brilliant Angelina Jordan original with lyrics that are a combination of Mary Zamani's poetry and Angelina's kind of adaptation of it, that has everything you could want in an Angelina Jordan song. Lyrics, singing, phrasing, just everything. It's just a fabulous, fabulous song. And it's also the longest song in the album. I really like that. So I've already talked about what comes in at number 1 in this list, and that's the album that this is from, Secret of the Soul. The first of these 2 independent albums, and very much of a surprise in terms of its kind of style. It's been described as a very vintage style, which I think certainly has those vintage elements a lot, but I don't want to really go into too much detail on the album because I'm going to have an extensive review of it coming out very soon. But it's just a stellar, stellar album. And, it's showing almost entirely just the good side of it being independent, the freedom that they had. And just, what a way to end the year with these 2 great Angelina Jordan albums that are so much her and showcase her uniqueness so much. So really looking forward to what next year has to offer. Right away in January, there's a new concert that I'm going to, and she promised a new album. Those teasers make next year look very promising too. So anyway, that's my top 10 list. So Happy New Year, everybody. Aloha from Hawaii.
And when your world is aching, I'll carry the pain. If you cry, let your tears